All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Super here, and welcome to another Mortal Kombat 1 video. This is going to be something that I don't normally do, but I wanted to do this first of all for fun, because this gets a nice discussion going down in the comments section. Leave all your opinions. I know we're not going to agree on a lot of these things, but that's the fun part about tier lists. They're all subjective. And the other reason is because Omni-Man comes out in a few days, and you guys know the history with NetherRealm Studios and DLC characters. They completely shake up the tier list. I think Omni-Man is going to be in line with a lot of the guest characters and DLC characters in general that NetherRealm creates. Busted. So I wanted to do a tier list before Omni-Man comes out. If you guys want me to do a tier list for the cameos before Tremor comes out as well, make sure you guys leave a like rating on the video. If it gets the support, then obviously it'll let me know that you guys want to see it. So let's get started here. Not going to waste too much time. So all of these characters are going to be based on their best cameo options. Now, I don't play the best cameo options for some characters, but I have watched a bunch of people at the highest level play with the best cameo options. So I'm basing my opinion not only on my playing experience, but also watching other people who are a lot better than I am, and also playing versus people who are really good online. So let's get started here. By the way, I just want to say I played with every character on the roster except for Garrus, Ashra, Kung Lao, and Shang Tsung. Oh, and Tanya. So I play with every character excluding 5. So the other 5 are just going to be based on me seeing other people and playing against them online. Let's get started. All right. I'm going to start off, obviously, with the S-tier characters. I think before the patch happened where they nerfed Raiden and Baraka, it was pretty clear that there were like 4 characters that were S-tier. Now, I'm not so sure. Obviously, let's put the one that is the most obvious. Johnny Cage is number 1 in the game. Johnny Cage and Kenshi, by the way, hold on. There you go. Let's just make this easy. Johnny Cage and Kenshi were already S-tier characters alongside Baraka, Raiden. Who else? I think those might have been the only S-tier characters. I think those might. So those 4 characters were already S-tier. They nerfed the hell out of Baraka. That poor man got infected with the Tarkat disease, and now NetherRealm just completely, well, they didn't completely butcher him, but they nerfed him. They nerfed Raiden's damage. Everything else is pretty much the same. So Raiden's still going to be up there on my tier list because he's just so solid, but he's not S tier anymore for sure. His damage had to get nerfed, but Kenshi and Johnny Cage lived through the patch to tell another day, to tell the story of the S tier for another day, because these two are clearly the best characters in the game. Johnny Cage, crazy plus frames, really fast, great movement, good damage, with the best cameo that he has, which is probably Kung Lao, has an amazing projectile from full screen. He literally has everything that you want in a character. Before I go any further, I do want to mention that I hope that the characters that are below him get buffed up to come up to Johnny Cage's level instead of nerfing Johnny Cage. I like the fact that Johnny's strong. He's been strong in pretty much like every NetherRealm title, obviously starting with MK9, MKX, he was really good. They nerfed him quite a bit. He was good in MK11, they nerfed him, so I really hope that instead of like nerfing Johnny and Kenshi, they bring up all these characters that are below them. I just want to mention that because I want every character to have all the best tools. So obviously, Johnny Cage and Kenshi, in my opinion, are the best characters in the game. So I was thinking about putting Rain in S tier because I think Rain was right there with Baraka, Raiden, Kenshi, and Johnny Cage before the patch. He was very close to being S tier. You know what? I'm gonna put Rain in S tier because I don't want only 2 characters to be there. Rain is like the bottom of the S tier. Like he's like S minus, I guess, right? The other 2 characters are clearly amazing, but Rain has so many tools, could zone you out, could mix you up, has a lot of safety. So I'm going to put Rain right there in the S tier spot. I play him with Sub-Zero cameo, and I feel like Sub-Zero with his ice aura just gives him so many more options to be able to zone to his liking. I definitely think that Rain is S tier right there. So moving on, that's it for the S tier. I don't see any other character being S tier because I have this character as the 4th best character in the game, which is Kung Lao. Kung Lao with a safe launcher or a safe armor attack paired up with characters like Sonya, Goro, give him an armored launcher. He doesn't do, the reason I don't have him S tier is because he doesn't do the most damage in the world, and a lot of times, well, he does damage, but you have to use meter to do it. But a lot of times Kung Lao players are going to be using that meter for his armor attack. So you're not really going to get the crazy upper 40% combos with Kung Lao consistently unless you're using meter. But you do get that threat anytime you have a bar of meter and a cameo assist of him just doing an armored attack that's going to launch the opponent, go into a full combo. I think he's the 4th best character, but I definitely don't think he's in line with these characters for sure. He's a solid A plus, somewhere around there. I'm going to try to put these characters in order, but to be fair, I think after like maybe the top 5, I'm just going to include characters that I see because I don't know if I'll be able to like, if I try to put them in order, everything's just going to take even longer. So next up here, let me see. Yeah, I think Ashra right here. Ashra is next for me. I always have a really hard time playing versus her. She has one of the best, if not the best, armor attack in the game with her, I don't know what the hell it's called because I haven't played her, but the dash, it has like 100 hits of armor. It's crazy. It's like Havoc's arm rip on steroids because it seems like the armor never goes away. She does crazy damage. She has amazing range. She has decent zoning, not the best zoning in the world, but she has amazing range, amazing space control. She's very hard to deal with, in my opinion. So especially if your character has T-Rex arms or something like that, it's going to be a long night for you versus Ashra. And as far as like for me, this is my tier list, obviously, I have a hard time fighting versus that character compared to like most of the characters in the game. It's pretty crazy. Like that's literally my demon as she is in the lore. So let me see next up here. Who do we have? Who do I want to put? I think I'm pretty confident in putting Raiden right here. Raiden obviously got nerfed, but he still does everything that he was doing before. He's just not doing it as oppressive because Cyrax got nerfed. But I've been using him with the Striker cameo. Really good to bait people out. Not the best to do his pressure with the Storm Cell, but if you use a character like Sector and you time the missile, it's pretty much going to be exactly the same as it was with Cyrax, just not as much chip damage, but at least you're going to get the chip damage from the Storm Cell if the person does a flawless block, and you're going to maintain your safety. He still does good damage. He doesn't do like insane damage like he was doing before, but with 1 bar of meter, he's getting about 41%, which is pretty standard for most of the roster. He has amazing buttons. I think he's just an overall solid character, so I still have him right there in the top 6. Let me see. I actually didn't write anything down because I wanted this just to be spontaneous on the spot. I'm just looking at the roster here. I'm trying to pick out what character I would put at number 7. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult because I think after some of these characters, the roster starts getting more and more balanced and more even. I know this is going to be crazy to a lot of people, but I had the most success playing with Sindel out of any character that I played with. Sindel was like the most wins I got out of any of these characters on the roster. I was playing really well with Sindel. I just think she has amazing tools. She has great damage potential or combo potential. She has good damage paired up with a character like Serena or Sub-Zero, Jax with his crazy unblockable setup that you could get that is unavoidable, unescapable. I'm not really going to go into that, but just overall, she has a lot of really useful buttons, combo strings. Forward 1 with the hair, absolutely amazing. Normal. Forward 4 obviously is amazing normal. She is really, really fun. I wish more people would give her a chance because it doesn't seem like she's the most popular character, but I loved playing with Sindel. She might actually be my favorite character to play with because she's so much fun, in my opinion. So I had the most success with Sindel out of any character that I play with, so I'm going to put her right there. Let me see. We're still in the A tier. There's actually a lot of characters that I think are A tier, but this character right here, Tanya, I haven't played with her, but I played versus many Tanya players, and dealing with her range and her wake-up attack is similar to something like Kung Lao, and also her drill. You could get like meterless combos with the Goro assist with her drill. But I think her range is what makes her really difficult to fight against. She does really good damage. She has a safe armor attack. I think Tanya is really, really good. She's just underrepresented. But every time that I fight versus a Tanya, I feel like I'm fighting for my life. So I think Tanya's right there as one of the best in the game. Let me see here. Trying to think of, okay, so my next couple characters are going to be Reiko, Smoke, and Melina. I'm just trying to figure out in what order. I think I'm going to put Smoke up here next. Then I'm going to put Reiko here. And then I'm going to put Melina here. I think that's probably going to round out my A tier characters. Shang Tsung is the one that I'm really like not too familiar with at all because I haven't played him and I haven't played versus too many people that are using him, but I know he's really hard to use. So I'm going to assume that he's on the lower end of the tier list, and I'm going to put him alongside with some of the characters that I think are down there on the lower end. But obviously Smoke, he's a pressure monster. To be fair, a lot of his cancels are not plus on block, but that's where you bring in your cameo assist to help you out. He does have a lot of gaps in his combo string, but again, you could bait people out with doing, a cancel before they do something like up block and bait it out, punish them with a low. There's a lot of counterplay that you could go back and forth with your opponent with Smoke. But he does have a lot of gaps in his combo strings, and he has weaknesses. That's why, obviously, he's not higher up on the tier list. But the fact that he does have all that pressure added in with, some cameos like Kung Lao again, it's going to give you a lot of offense, a lot of turns you're going to steal from your opponent because they're scared to press buttons. And I've gone versus some Smoke players that their cancels are on point, and like I said, they're not plus on block or anything. You could like mash out of it. But if you're playing online, there's always going to be some sort of delay. And if they add in the Kung Lao cameo or some of these other cameos that are going to help them out, it gets very scary to press buttons versus Smoke. So I have him right there. One of the best in the game. What is it? What do I have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's the ninth best character in the game, in my opinion. Then we have Reiko here. I think Reiko having probably the best projectile in the game with his ninja stars, to add that to the fact that he has a really nice mid attack to check your opponent, and he has a mid command grab when you meter burn it. If you pair him up with Darius, you are getting 40% now. It used to be 50, but you're getting 40% with off a mid command grab. Not only that, but the command grab really scares opponents. So you're going to be checking a lot of people with forward 1 when you normally wouldn't, but because you have a mid command grab, a lot of people are trying to jump, and you get that check with forward 1, go into a combo. He does about 30% damage meterless with no cameo. That's not bad at all. He would have been a little bit higher on the tier list, probably in between Sindel and Tanya. Maybe ahead of Sindel if they didn't nerf his damage so much when you're using him with Darius. I haven't used it with any other cameo, so I don't have that experience. But I think Reiko is just very, very solid. But now that he doesn't do the crazy damage he was doing, I think he's just a solid character, but he doesn't like stand out anymore like he used to when he would do the crazy damage. But that Ninja Star projectile was so good, and just in general, I think he's very, very solid. Melina's up next. So Melina has a lot of problems, but the reason I put her up here is because her damage is just crazy. There's no way that a character can be bad doing 50% one bar combos. I think she's the only character now that does 50% one bar combos if you're using the Scorpion cameo. That's a cameo that I use. And she might have gaps. She might have problems. Her projectiles don't go full screen unless you meter burn them. But I just think that her damage output is just so crazy. So crazy. And I feel like that damage output is the reason why she's up there for me. All right, now let's move on here. Man, I'm looking at Scorpion right now, and I'm thinking he should be in the A tier list. He's just very solid, but he does have a lot of problems. But we're basing this on him using his most optimal cameo, right? Nah, I'm still going to put him in the B tier list. So next up, let's put Scorpion right here. He's going to be the first character in my B tier list. He's very close to being A, in my opinion. But he doesn't really have anything to scare the opponent. He's very easy to just sit there and block. He has an amazing 2-1, and he has decent movement. But the 2-1 is so good that a lot of times, you're going to do it from a range where only Scorpion's going to be able to attack. What he does have is good space control. Obviously, he has a gap between or you could duck his forward 3-2. But that's where you have like a character, again, like Kung Lao, that could help blow up the opponent trying to duck that. Yeah, he doesn't do crazy damage. He does he might do slightly above average damage depending on the combo route that you pick. But I think overall, I can't really have him in the A tier list with some of these other characters, because I feel like these other characters in the A tier list, they're solid. Plus, they do something a little bit extra. They might have just great range, a great projectile like Reiko, great pressure like Smoke, great damage like Melina. I think Scorpion's a solid character, but he doesn't do something great, if that makes sense. So, but I do have him here at the first spot in the B tier list. Now, let me reposition myself here. Next up, let's talk about Liu Kang. This is another character similar to Scorpion that is very, very solid, but I think he struggles opening people up. Once he does a crazy amount of damage, but there's really nothing that could open people up unless you're just spacing them out, you're punishing. So it's kind of hard to open somebody up as a Liu Kang player unless you're using like a throw. Obviously, if you use a throw, Kung Lao assist, Motaro assist, you could get a free 28% damage combo. That's very good, but the opponent knows you're only trying to throw backwards. So, you know what? I'm always going to tech back. I'll take the 12%, 11%, whatever it is, off a forward throw, because I don't want to get hit by the back throw and then get put into a combo situation. So I find it very hard to open people up as Liu Kang, even though he has probably the second best zoning in the game. I think Reiko's projectile is just crazy good. And I think he's on par with Rain as the second, third best zoner in the game, just because his low projectile, his straight projectile is so fast. The low one isn't fast, but it's just a check, you know, a nice low check. He has instant air fireballs. So I just think he's very solid. Let me see here. Who's next? I'm trying to think because I played versus a lot of Garrus players that are really good. But I have also played against a lot of Garrus players where it looks like they can't do anything in the matchup. So I don't really know where to put Garrus because I've had mixed experience playing versus him because I haven't played him yet. All right, let's do this. Let's put General Shao up here. Actually, no, I think Katana's better than General Shao. A lot of people might disagree and say Katana's ass, but Katana, her game plan, she was designed to be a space control with punish character. You have to, because she has the same problem to Liu Kang where it's hard to open people up as a Katana player. But she does have better range than Liu Kang. Her game plan is to wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then you hit him with that back one or back two, whatever it is. I forgot what it is. I haven't played with her too much since the beta, but I played the hell out of her when the beta was up, and I was having a lot of success. These three characters, actually, that you see here are pretty much designed to be whenever your opponent makes a mistake, that's where you're going to get your punish. So compared to some of these other characters that have an easier time opening people up, these characters are just solid characters, but they're designed, all right, your opponent has to make a mistake for you to get rewarded, or you have to play patiently so your opponent could get to make a mistake and then you're going to be rewarded. So I think Katana's in that same boat. I'm going to have General Shao up here because I think his offense is amazing. His only weakness that hurts him a lot is that he doesn't have a good mid. And if you don't have a good mid in this game, a lot of people are going to be able to mash out of a lot of what you want to do. But whether he has his axe, whether he doesn't have his axe, he has a lot of offensive options. And I think he's one of the most fun characters to play with. So I love General Shao, but it is frustrating playing with him sometimes because you're just going to get mashed out of. Next up here, I'm actually going to put Garrus up here next up because I have played versus a lot of Garrus that were just like insanely good. And I think his turning back time and getting your life back, being put out of a combo, I think that's very, very strong. He has I think a high command grab. He has a time stop. But I definitely think that he takes more work compared to maybe anyone else on the roster. I'm trying to think of another character that would take a lot of work compared to Garrus because you have to set up a lot in order to get him to the point where he's going to be really, really good in the match. So, but I think once you set that up and you call in your hourglasses, you get those power-ups, I think that's when he becomes really scary. But the fact that you have to set that up and maybe sacrifice some damage in order to set that up, that's why he's around this spot for me. But yeah, I played it versus a lot of Garrus players that were really good. Maybe it's just I don't have the experience to fight versus Garrus, but sometimes I'm like, man, this character is crazy. I know he's not like A or anything like that, but I think like middle of the pack is good for him. A little bit lower than the middle. All right. I think we're going to do this because I think Havoc is amazing. I think Havoc is really good. He does have a lot of weaknesses. Actually, you know what? I think Havoc is actually really good. Should I have him in A? I completely forgot about my boy Havoc. I played with him a lot. No, I don't think he's... I think when he was using Cyrax, honestly, it brought him up so much because it was like perfect for his playstyle. But I use him with Sub-Zero. And even though I think he's really good with Sub-Zero, I don't think he's anywhere near some of the A tier characters. But I do think, actually, you know what? Let me move him. I'm trying to move him. There you go. I think he's at the beginning of the B tier. I just completely like forgot about him. But I did find a lot of success playing with Havoc. He has a lot of dirt. His unblockable neck break is really good, even though it scales like crazy. But it's still a free combo after a setup. He has really good zoning, and if you add in, like, for example, I use Sub-Zero Cameo. I get the Ice Aura up. I have a way easier time zoning compared to my opponent trying to counter zone me. The only thing that hurts him a lot is his movement. He doesn't really have good movement. His mid isn't the best, but I think he does something a little bit better than some of these other characters that are more like space control characters or characters like General Shao that you can mash out of. Because you could mash from up close, you could mash out of what Havoc wants to do. But the fact that he has that back two with a crazy amount of range, his backdash isn't like too bad. So you could be like trying to counter poke people, do a little dash back or backdash, and then do back two. Catches a lot of people that way. I actually do think now looking back, yeah, Havoc is right under A tier in my opinion. I think he's the first in B. So my boy Havoc is good. Let me see. I'm wondering if I should put one more character at B. Yeah, I'm gonna put Lee May right here. I know that a lot of her lantern combos that you did before, because you could only do, I think, 2 max and then 3 they fall off. Some of her like longer combos got nerfed, but I've seen some crazy stuff with Lee May from a player like Dab. But I have not gotten the Lee May experience fighting versus Lee May players since the game has come out. But I know for a fact that Lee May is pretty solid. She's definitely not in the upper echelon of characters, but she has a damage potential for sure. She could do some crazy damage, especially with the Scorpion cameo, because, you know, that's like your bread and butter when it comes to more longer, higher damaging combos. But I'm going to put her right there because I think these other characters are worse. All right, so next up here, let's go with Reptile. I think Reptile's going to start off the C tier list. I feel like Reptile struggles a lot. He should be faster, man. Reptile has always been like the fast character. I feel like he should be the fastest character in the game just because that's how Reptile has always been. He's like the fastest with his dash and everything. Even using his dash in MK1, even his dash feels slower. His slide takes a long time to start up. In order for him to get damage, you have to use like the meter burn force balls in order to get like some good, decent damage. He has very stumpy limbs. His invisibility isn't the best. I think he has a lot of weaknesses. He has a lot of potential, but if they bring some of his things that he does well, then I think it'll make him a better character. But overall, I think that Reptile is definitely down there on the bottom end of things. Next up here, we have, I'm going to put Baraka at the C tier list. The fall from grace is real, but the fact that not only did they nerf his damage, but I'm pretty sure they nerfed his movement, and they also nerfed his 2-1 combo string. Now it has a gap after 2-1. So anytime someone does that, you could like armor through their attack. You could use your invincibility on your cameo assist. And plus, his damage got nerfed. So I definitely think that Baraka fell a lot. Maybe not this much. I have not ran into a single Baraka since Baraka and Cyrax got nerfed. So I definitely think he fell down a lot. Next up here, I'm going to go with Shang Tsung. I think Shang Tsung takes a lot of work. Similar to Garrus, it seems like Shang Tsung is pretty hard to use. And I just have not gotten the experience playing versus Shang Tsung players. So, and the time that I have ran into Shang Tsung players, it seems like they had to work really hard to get damage. It seems like that's where he struggles the most, getting damage. He doesn't do that much damage, and for him to, get some extended combos, you need meter, and then those extended combos don't really get you damage. So I guess like once I play with him, I'll learn more about him and see what makes him good. But right now, I got to put him down there because I have not ran into too many Shang Tsung players. Now let's go to the bottom of the tier list, and we're going to have Sub-Zero down here as the second worst character in the game. I definitely think he struggles a lot, mostly because, first of all, he does no damage. That's number one, all right? But number two, he has so many gaps in his combo strings on block. It's insane. Like, any combo string he does, you could armor through it. They nerfed his Ice Clone. They nerfed his forward one. They did a lot to Sub-Zero. And, Ice Clone is really, really annoying to fight against. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that they also nerfed pretty much everything else around him, including damage, combo strings, frames, they butchered Sub-Zero. He was one of the most fun characters that I played in the beta, in the alpha, whatever. I played with him and Shujinko, and I was like, man, why the hell am I playing Sub-Zero right now? Because, yeah, the boy got... he got the... let me see, what other character has... I guess he got the Cyrax treatment compared to how he was in the beta, because, man, they really, really nerfed Sub-Zero a lot. So I have him down here at D, and then the final character is my girl, Nitara. I will say this, I haven't played with her since she got the buff to her blood sacrifice. I think that's going to help her a lot when it comes to the low health that she does have. 950 health, I think, by default. I use her with Motaro, which is really stupid because then it brings down my health to 850. Just because I like the way her combos look. In reality, you're probably going to want to use her with a character like Kung Lao. Even a character like Serena is really good with her. But I just think having that low health... she has T-Rex arms. She doesn't really have a good mid. Her armored attack is a high. If her armored attack was a mid, I think that would be way better. Because you could just poke under her blood spit. I think if it was a mid, she would be a little bit better. I just think overall she kind of struggles a little bit. She does have like an insane amount of damage. I will say that. But the fact that she has such little health, and like I said, I haven't really played with her blood sacrifice yet. So this is more like old Nitara. I got to play with the blood sacrifice to see if she's still the worst character in the game. Because I think what made her the worst is just the fact that she has such little health, and the fact that she has T-Rex arms, doesn't really have a good mid. I mean, she has forward one, but forward one takes a while to start up, and it's more of a range mid compared to, some other characters that have mids that are, pretty quick, 10 frames through 12 frames. Yeah, I'm still going to put Nitaro as the bottom of the barrel as far as the worst character in the game. But still, like, it's pretty cool that the worst character in the game still has a lot of things that are really good about her, like her damage, her movement, her combos. Nitara's overall incredibly fun, but I need to play with her blood sacrifice. But for now, like, this is what I have. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. I think C and D need to get bumped up quite a bit, and then I think B and A are like just solid characters. It's just maybe the first, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5, the first characters in the A roster are probably like A plus, and then this is like A, and then B plus, B minus, and then C. There is no C plus in these categories. It's just C, and then D. But I try to put them in order. The only one that I changed significantly was Havoc, because I do think Havoc's really good. He's just not on the A tier level, in my opinion. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I normally don't do tier list videos, but I thought it would be a lot of fun to do one before Omni-Man comes out. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.